because this is a map, or that's the idea, that's the goal with the Money Awareness podcast, is to go from point A to point B in each episode. So we feel like we're going somewhere. And point A in this episode would be fearful, and point B will be confident. Because I think with you two, this is like, maybe I'm speculating. You can like just correct me if I'm wrong. But I do feel like what you do brings a lot of people from being fearful and just like scared of like putting themselves out there to feeling more confident. And I thought, okay, this is like the right topic for Kim and Linda. Does that sound right?
Yes, that's true.
That's good.
Okay. I'm glad. I'm glad that it sounds
Yes.
right.
Hello and welcome to the Money Awareness Podcast, also known as TMAP. Embark on a journey with us as we explore the world of money patterns and how they interconnect with your unique creative mind. Our goal is to help you unlock your prosperity by making one creative decision at a time. I am your hostess, Victoria Mateo. Let's get started.
So we're having Kim and Linda today, who are these amazing ladies that bring so much creativity to the world. We can just start talking about our topic of this episode, going from point A, fearful, to point B, confident. That's where we want to be. That's how we want to feel. All of us, I'd say, in the world. Not be insecure, not feel pressured by the outcomes and whatever is unknown to us. And I think, as I was saying to you guys earlier, you guys, I think you're doing a great job with inspiring people to coming out of being fearful and feeling more confident in what they do and how they put themselves out there. And you've told me a little bit of what you do with improv and other techniques to inspire creativity. And I wanted to ask you, what are some simple ways to connect and feel more included in social or professional circles based on your experience? Um, you can start, Linda.
Sure. Yeah, I didn't want to jump in, but you know, um, so yeah, no, some simple ways to really connect. I find, some things that work well is, first of all, we say find your tribe. So finding whether it's events or activities that you're connecting with, and go and out there to explore those kind of activities. You'll find like-minded people, and also it will help you because it's something that you already are passionate about or you love doing. It helps to be surrounded by people who are looking at the same thing, but also it helps to boost a little bit of your confidence in terms of when you're trying to talk about a topic, something that you already like. So look for those kind of meetings, or like I said, activities that you love. It helps to break the ice, I find.
That's a great tip. I think in general, we all want to find that sense of belonging. And when you say find your tribe, that just resonates so much with me in many ways, but especially I think Linda's camera is like kind of like, okay, hello, do you hear me? Are you here, Linda?
Yes, I can
Okay.
hear.
Okay. So in my experience, I had to face, always wanted to belong somewhere, and also dealing with understanding that I was also unique and that maybe in certain ways I wasn't going to belong. And embracing that was like, it took me several years of therapy, but also learning about myself, right? And in order for me to feel okay with going to places that I didn't know how to behave, and or with unknown people, and how to actually say, "Hey, nice to meet you." Oh my God, it's challenging, right, Kim? What would you
Um,
say?
I would say, like, yeah, like, definitely we all, like, wanna feel like we belong in something, right? When you're trying to connect with new people, it always happens in your existing circle, your existing group of friends, your existing family. So one thing that I like to recommend people to do is to try to share things about themselves, right? And that usually makes other people open up too and makes them share things about themselves. So sharing, something that you're feeling or sharing that, a story that happened to you. And that way you're more open and it also makes other people be more open too. So that's one way of, feeling included, connecting within your circle.
I love that. And it reminds me of something that you told me another day. I took note of that. You said, I have to work with what I have so it is less scary. And that really, like, I had to take note of that because I agree with you. It's exactly what you just said. Okay, I know something about myself. I can actually come in and say something about me. But that also can be very scary because and I am speaking a lot to introverts in this because I have extrovert features, but I am in essence I'm an introvert. So I tend to like close up when I don't feel safe, right? When I don't know how to connect. And what has helped me was more like understanding myself, right? And this leads me to the next question: is how does like introspection and like stepping out of your comfort zone boosts our confidence in these social settings, like networking events or like places that you like what you were mentioning, Linda, places that we actually feel like we belong or like we like. What would you say it's the link there?
Yes. Yes, and Victoria, I'm an introvert at heart as well, and sometimes people are like, "Wow, you don't look like an introvert," but it was the work that I did on myself. I had, you talked about introspection, and it's really important to see like, okay, sometimes we feel like we're outcasts because like, oh, I'm not social, I'm not like, why doesn't it come so easily to me like to connect, make friends? We all have like this popular family member. Sometimes it's like my brother is very social, it comes very naturally, and me not so, not quite so, so I'm like, how, I come in and I smile, and then, hoping that someone will come and look at all these people connecting, and you kind of stay on the side, right? But I had to learn, like, as an adult, because like, we always like, oh, at school I'm out of the popular group or a popular crowd. But when instead it's just like, yeah, you realize that you have your qualities, you have your superpowers, but you have to get to know them. So what makes you unique is just like, yes, I may be an introvert, but I'm also have this power to help connect other introverts, right? It's like going into the room and spotting the people that may be on the side as well. Like that's something that I did, is like, oh, I'm gonna go see the person that also seems, in the corner. So let me go and talk to them and see, like, yeah, me too. I'm new, and I'm just like, it's maybe a little bit awkward, but I was talking about the tribe and seeing like there are others that are, similar like us, and it's not bad. It's not a bad thing. It's we're just
Mhm.
like different. It's different approach, and getting to know how then you make your own tribe, and and then it grows, and we connect to other people. But yes, just to come back to the question, for me, it's just like you have to do a lot of introspection and seeing like, what are your qualities, what are some things that, okay, I may not be the most kind of like social in that, but I do have my unique qualities. I can go and see if someone needs help. I can go and ask some questions about this event. I learned something. Maybe you can bring that whatever expertise or what you learn in another event to that event. So those ways of connecting, bringing your side of things, that makes you unique, and that helps you to connect with people.
That's true. I I believe that knowing ourselves first helps us know other people as well and other situations, but um, it also takes practice. It takes a lot of
Yes,
practice, and that is like, I guess, the portion of like, yes, we are going inside, but we're also going out and practicing. Stepping out of our comfort zone is to practice. Go into the social settings and facing your fears. Yes. Which is, oh my God, I have to meet someone that I probably won't like. But also, you know what? That is giving you the tools to actually know when you don't like someone, or when you actually find that person that is more like your tribe. But you have to
that's right.
go and like see, right? But it's all about adaptability, right? And that's like that that's a challenge. And I think this in many ways I'm like, okay, how do we tie this up to the money aspect, right? In every single way, when we are trying to find a job opportunity, when we're trying to get a new contract, when we're promoting our business, when we are just trying to find other ways to create income and to promote our product, our service, or any kind of way that makes money, we have to put ourselves out there. We have to let people know, hey, I exist. You can get this service. And that is why this is so important. We have to like get out of that comfort zone and face our fears with the techniques that probably you're going to share now. How do you think improv techniques can enhance your confidence and that adaptability, Kim?
Yeah, absolutely. So, improv is all about things that are unplanned. So thinking on the spot, right? So when we train for improv, we really train our brains to kind of think quicker, right? To see, what's happening around us right now and what can we do with what we have? How can we take that and do something with it right now without too much planning? So that's one thing it helps with. It helps you think quicker. There's an improv principle that everybody learns when they go to an improv class or even at our events, and the principle is called yes and. So that principle teaches you to say yes to whatever comes to you, to accept things. Say, okay, yes, this is my situation, and then you say, and what can I do now? So that's the basic principle of improv. And just by implementing this, you learn how to be a little bit more spontaneous. You learn how to be more aware, and you learn how to stay calm when things come to you that are not prepared, by saying, okay, yes, I was not prepared for this, but and what can I do now, right?
That's so useful.
Mm.
And like, call it when like all of a sudden you lose your job, and now, yes, I lost my job, and what am I going to do about it?
Hmm.
Yeah. Do you want to add anything, Linda, to this the improv techniques?
No, I guess like the Kim really summarized it quick. Is whether you're any situation that you're part, an entrepreneur, you're faced with some type of like unknown. We don't know what's next. We're taking decisions. You were talking about, yeah, we're selling. We have to pitch ourselves. We have to. There's a lot of unknown, and that's where the improv techniques come in, because it gives us an opportunity to train that muscle of saying, okay, I don't know what's next. I don't know. So something is presented to me, and I'm gonna work with it, and I'm okay if it's not gonna be perfect, because it's the first time I'm dealing with this. But next time, I know I have a little bit more experience, and I have the tools. So I train that muscle of just like something is unplanned, something that I don't know. I have the tools to confront it. I have the tools to work with it, and I'm gonna be learning from it and applying. And we just get better and better. It can be applied to anything we do in our lives.
And that's what I was just going to ask, like how, like how do you think we can apply these things to like problem solving and creativity in in one example for like for this case as well?
Yes. Okay, perfect. So, how can we use that as creatives? For me, I use it like I love writing. I'm a writer as well. And I know sometimes as creative, we can be confronted to blocks, to inspiration blocks, right? And for me, when I write, sometimes, yeah, there's a block and I have the syndrome of a blank page. You're just staring at the blank page. And where improv comes in, for me at least, is we have several games tools that we learn to be inspired by things that are around us. For instance, okay, what do I feel? What do I see? What is, for instance, like I have a mic in front of me. What does that make me think of? And and then the next thing, and then the next thing. And by doing that, like we call this word association, it helps sometimes like lead you to something, and you start being inspired by just whatever is in your environment. So kind of some exercises like that to get over your block is something that for me is very helpful. And yes.
I love that. Do you want to add anything to that, Kim?
Yeah, I'm just thinking about us as entrepreneurs. We've used improv techniques, I guess, a lot in our journeys. Like we use it daily, practically. I I was just thinking about this one time where we planned an event, and we were to have somebody come and help us at one of the events, and just like a few minutes before, she called us and said she's not coming. So, and it's that was a really okay, yes, and moment. It's, yes, we have the situation, and what are we gonna do about it now? Because we don't have all the things that we were supposed to have with us. So we ended up doing a lot of things last minute. Using what we had in front of us, using our resources, making really quick phone calls, saying, "Hey, we're missing one thing," right? So yeah, and actually we're proud of this moment. So yeah.
I am proud of you too. It's so interesting because when I decided to focus a lot on creatives in terms of my practice, I also wanted to encourage these people to understand that creatives tend to be almost more resourceful than like people that don't consider themselves creatives, because imagination just hits. It's like, and the yes and comes like so like naturally, because we have to like create things like here and there, and like in many ways this applies to everyone has the chance to say yes and that's, I think, one of the principles to accepting things for what they really are, but that's definitely a challenge. So I wanted to ask you, what specific um, improv strategies you like would you say can be effective to financial situations that are uncertain in this scenario, since this is the money awareness podcast?
I would definitely say, like, using that yes and principle, like it comes in handy in everything, even in financial situations, especially as creative in a financial situation, because we know it's not always easy. So the end in that case would be seeing, what resources do you have? If I cannot do anything, can I turn to other people? Can other people help me? Right. And that's when the teamwork aspect comes in, right? The being able to communicate something, being able to take what people give you and seeing, what can you do with, even if they can give you only a little bit, what can you do with that, right?
Yes. So yeah, definitely what Kim said. And also, I know sometimes like whether we're creatives or not, but financial aspects are always something like, oh, it's dreaded, right? Sometimes it gives us headaches and we fear it, but it's necessary, especially for business. There's some stuff that we cannot escape. So that's what Kim said, like, we have to confront okay, this is a fact. I have to, organize my financial statements. I need to, do my taxes or whatnot. But now sometimes, how can, who can help me? How can maybe I, like Kim said, like, if I don't understand where's the fear coming from, or the things that I don't understand, there's resources out there. So the end part, when we say yes and, is that yes, I accept my situation. I have to do my taxes. I cannot go around it. But now, who can help me? I'm not like a professional, of course. Like, let me ask someone that knows, or there's groups, there's resources, like free resources as well. Let me get informed. Let me start my journey. And also, I would add, to give yourself some grace is very important, because sometimes we're very hard on ourselves. Oh, I don't know this. I'm gonna be ashamed of this. Like, I don't want to talk to someone. They're gonna judge me. Find someone who, a group, someone that will be supportive and that will not be judgmental. It's very important, I feel, especially like for, finance stuff. We're always kind of fearful. It's like, I don't want to divulge my things and think people are, I'm I'm silly or whatnot. Like, why did I do that? Why don't I know that? I should know this. But so yes, I just say, give yourself some grace. Sit down and see, like, okay, who can I reach out to? What resources can I look, and one step at a time. So yeah.
I love that advice, and it is so crucial that we ask for help when we don't know how to deal with something. And there is tons of resource out there, but sometimes we don't really know what is it that we're looking for. And just like going to someone that you feel safe to go to. And in terms of money matters, especially, like, and this is the core of what I do, is create a safe space for people to actually feel like they can talk about one of the most taboo topics in the world, aka money. And it is so difficult because it's like you were saying, Linda, we grow up without learning so much about money, and we are supposed to know what what it is, how it works. And when we are actually in these situations, that definitely triggers fear and stress and anxiety. When we go on and start like searching online, probably we won't be able to actionate and find the right answers. And asking for help for people that actually can guide you through that process and understand also what is behind that fear. And this brings me back to that introspection, and like, in order for us to understand, why am I triggered, why am I not knowing how to deal with this, and why is it that I don't want to deal with it, first of all. What is it, what's the reason? That is what's going to empower you and say yes. And because if not, then I cannot name something, I cannot change it. In order for us to actually transform what is keeping us from succeeding in an area that we are very challenged, we have to name what the challenges are and work on them. And
Yes.
that's the key to the introspection. And that ultimately, at least in my personal experience and with my clients, I always see that awareness. Oh, you know what? I am fearful because when I was growing up, I was not good at math in school, and that just created this concept that because I'm not good at math, I'm not good at money, and then I just like end up spending all my money irrationally because I am not good with it. Period. And then I accept that, like, if that's the only truth, and then I just get stuck in that, and I cannot say yes. I've been bad with it because of XYZ. And now I can be better with these other tools that I'm actually good with, like you were saying. And I love that you said all that, because it's kind of like, okay, I have these other superpowers. How can I embrace them and incorporate them in something that I'm challenged in? When I met you guys, and I saw what your approach incorporating the improvisation in just normal tasks and simple things. I think that was so powerful because we take that for granted. It's like we really are improvising every time, like you were saying, Kim. It's like in everything that we do. And in terms of being creative, we have to embrace that as well. Are there any other improv techniques that you consider are so useful to our daily lives that we can incorporate apart from the yes and?
Yes and is the core of improv, but there's also a lot of things about like listening, like actively listening. And I think that's such an important skill in our lives, because sometimes even a simple communication, it's just about to listen to each other. And a lot of things sometimes get missed throughout a conversation because we're more in listening to respond instead of really listening actively, because that's something that we learn in improv, and being more spontaneous as well, like I said before, taking something and that's there and just like, oh, being inspired by this thing, like what does that make me think of? We can expand on whatever we're doing. There's a possibility to expand. What else is there? What if this thing? Let's expand, let's build upon that. We have things just there in front of us, and sometimes we're not even looking, and let's take it in. Like what is it that we're feeling right now? What are you seeing? What are you smelling? And how can you be inspired by that? So all of this is things that are right there, tools that we have access to, but we don't sometimes really take the time to, oh, okay, I have all these things in front of me. I have access to all these things, if we're fortunate enough to have, all of our senses and everything, but just yes, we have access to that to be inspired and to work with it. So, yes.
Yes, you know what? I'm also
And do
going to add that, improv also helps with your observation skills. Like we were talking about active listening, but it also helps you, be aware, observe who is around you, what is going on around you, and even in terms of communication, like just by observing, we don't realize that we use a lot of nonverbal communication. So by observing people, you can already tell, what they're feeling, or are they comfortable with you, or even like like which direction you feel like they want to go into. Sometimes just by sitting there and looking at, how they are moving or what they are looking at, it even gives you something to add to the conversation.
that's
Yes.
amazing. That's a great tip. You're right.
Mhm.
And that is very related to awareness, right? Like when we are aware of our surroundings and about what other people are saying, then we can approach the situation differently.
Yes.
I love that. And talking about improv and all the amazing things that you just told us about, do you want to talk about my creative break and your own personal businesses and promote them here so people can reach out to you and get all the advantage?
Hey, I'll take it over from here. So Linda and I, we are the co-founders of My Creative Break, and what we do is we organize events, and we work with companies and do team building programs, and we bring a twist to everything that we do. So they are not your normal networking events. They are not your normal team building programs. And the twist that we bring is using connection techniques, a little bit of improv techniques, and a lot of creativity exercises, so that when people get together at our events or in our team building program, they experience connection in a different way. So everything we do is more interactive. We always make sure people are having fun. So we use games that help people, connect to each other, work together, think outside the box together, but at the same time, laugh a lot together. And I'm sure you saw that at our events, the way. what you experienced.
I did experience all of those, and it was just amazing. So much that they left an impression in me, and now they're here talking to you guys. And I can see in in what you were just explaining, what Linda was mentioning about like being inspired. You really encourage people to be inspired in that process and not feel like, okay, I'm bored at this event. I have to be here because my company told me so. Or like, it's like, oh, I'm actually having fun while networking and like, doing a team building activity. So I totally love that. And you guys should definitely reach out to Kim and Linda. And the contact information we will leave in the episode notes. And that should be all for today. We are now feeling more confident with some improv techniques. I hope so. I hope this has inspired you to say yes and. Do you guys want to add anything else?
Yeah, besides my creative break, Linda and I do many other things. So, besides being the co-founder of my creative break, I am also a travel coach. So I work with people and kind of help them um, not just with like travel questions, but kind of looking at what would be the best for them in the situation that they're in, right? Everybody wants to travel, but we all have different reasons to be traveling. And like the way I say, just because everybody is going to one place doesn't mean that it's going to be the right place for you. So so I have my own travel community where people get together, we just talk about travel topics, and feel free to give me a shout if you like traveling. And another thing that I do is because like I went through a journey and went through a big career change. Like I used to work in corporate marketing before I became an entrepreneur. I also help people navigate their career changes. So if that's something that you would like to talk about, I am here to listen to you.
In my case, yeah, besides doing my creative break, I'm a certified life coach. I'm a confidence coach and also an idea generation strategist. So I help people brainstorm and bring clarity to their big dreams and goals. And I do so for especially for introverted, shy, timid entrepreneurs, to how to put themselves out there, how to get clear on their big ideas and visions, because I've been there myself. So I know, how hard it is to put ourselves out there and get clear. And when we have those big dreams, we want to set up, on the big stage. I also do have a community for introverted, shy, timid entrepreneurs that want to connect and network. So that too can go on my Instagram, and I can be of support. Feel free to send me a word, and I'd love to cheer you on and make sure that you attain those big dreams, regardless if you're shy or timid. It is possible. So I'm there rooting for you.
I love that. Well, thank you so much for being here today. I
Thank
have definitely
you.
enjoyed it. I was very excited about this topic and how to include these improv techniques in our daily lives. So, thank you. Appreciate you too.
Thank
I'm
you.
glad I
Thank you
met
so
you.
much.
I hope this episode inspired you to continue charting your path to prosperity, one creative decision at a time. Remember to subscribe, follow, and share TMAP, the Money Awareness Podcast, on your preferred podcast platform and social media. Until next time.